Welcome, IT changemakers, to the DEX Show with Tim Flower and Tom McGraw. Let's get into it.
Hello, changemakers. It's another DEX Show. I'm Tom McGraw. I'm joined by Tim Flower. And Tim, we got competition in the house today, mate.
Love it.
We got competition on the show. What do you make of this? Was this a wise move? I don't know.
I love the competition, but you know what? It's friendly competition, and there's so much to talk about. I love having guys like Matt on the show.
Exactly. We got Matt Beran, host and of the excellent Ticket Volume. And I will say straight off the bat, the first time I heard the show title, Ticket Volume, Matt, I thought, damn, that's a good title.
Yeah.
Right there. Not that I have a competitive streak. I wouldn't want you to come away from this introduction with a wrong idea,
I love it. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me too.
So Matt, my background, I was at the Hartford for 25 years, implemented tons of stuff over the years, 20 years, not 25. I exaggerated. It felt like 25. But implemented from 95 to 2015, so many technologies, including at the end, NextSync. And the big metric, the big claim to fame that we were able to achieve was an 80% ticket reduction in L1 tickets at the help desk. 80% of the inbounds went away. We didn't deflect them with self-service. We didn't route them somewhere else. We stabilized the environments, and the things just stopped breaking. And that 80% ticket reduction at $5 a piece to our L1 help desk provider was $2.5 million recurring every year. So when I saw your title of ticket reduction, or ticket volume, I said, holy cow. It resonated with me, and I know it has to resonate with your audience too. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. What a great story. And you've nailed it, man. I mean, that's what it's all about. Stabilize, improve.
Yep. That was always my mantra. Fix the crap that's broken and has been broken for years, and then stop breaking it. So you can now implement change with confidence that you already know it's not going to break. And if it does break, without people having to call your help desk, you can stop, you can communicate, you can adjust. It's so much you can do with that visibility. And it never gets old.
Yeah, pays off in spades.
Yep.
What about you, Matt? What was your background prior to starting the show?
Yeah, my background has been largely the same. I did tons of service management implementations, cut my teeth doing customer service for Great Clips, a giant hair salon place in the States here, and really just kind of have always just loved helping people. I grew up on a farm, and so the mindset there was really, if you see something broken, fix it. And I've just kind of taken that with me into the service and support world. And early on in my career, I had really good mentors, and one of them pointed out HDI, a great organization for help desk professionals and service desk professionals. And it kind of just exposed me to this world that there's an entire ecosystem and a career path and a focus on delivering great service, building, designing, and delivering great service. So stuck with it and loved it ever since. Lately, I cut my teeth doing tons of ServiceNow implementations over the last decade or so, and now recently have joined a company called InvGate, a absolutely fantastic service management solution that focuses on basic ticketing, incident, problem change, knowledge, and then also another solution that does asset management and CMDB. So just kind of loving the space and continuing to try to give back to the community through the podcast and everything else I do.
Amazing. And obviously our focus here is a bit more on digital employee experience expressly. Interested to start out though by hearing how you think that concept has really been influencing and changing the whole realm of service management at large lately.
Yes, my goodness. It feels like the other way, like service management is influencing the DEX world, but maybe that's just because I'm in IT operations all the time. Sure. But when you think about it, at the very I was talking about software license management yesterday with one of my colleagues, and they said, what are the outcomes? And I started to kind of peel back the onion, and I realized, and I'm sorry for dropping business jargon right away on my podcast, but what we were doing is dissecting the idea, and I realized that so much of it is focused on financial and efficiency, and we sort of forget in our effort to improve the cost and the operation of the thing, that at the end of the day, the applications that we pick and select impact our employees' ability to deliver what makes them special, what makes them awesome, and makes them productive, makes them useful to the company. So that's just one of the ways that, I think service management is starting to kind of wake up to this idea that experience management, experience design, and the concepts of like co-creation of value are starting to really permeate our space, and we're starting to really see people designing services with the people that consume them. So a great example is, we used to just pick the laptop that everyone got, and that's the laptop that you get. Well, now you see teams that are more focused on selecting those tools with the employees. They're, doing trial programs with the employees, having employees come in and seeing, 10 or 12 models in a conference room. We're really starting to glom onto the ideas that DEX brings to us and then put it into operations, put it into actions.
Excellent. What do you think is the absolute key to delivering good digital employee experience, in your view, taking that into account?
Yes. Well, I guess the keys, there's two that really come to mind right away, because we always said when we're consulting, meet the people where they are. Don't try to just top down control. You're going to do things this way. Listen to the people and meet them where they are. But I also think, like, tied to that same software license story that I had, people are looking for freedom and autonomy. And so many of and that's hard to scale. That's hard to, when you've got 10,000 employees, it's hard to say, okay, everyone can have whatever applications that they want. So you end up having to sort of operationalize that. How do we provide more freedom, more autonomy, but still make it supportable and cost effective and the way that we think it should be and the way that they think that it should be. So I think it ends up being that sort of pairing of people, balancing the cost constraints and the supportability constraints with the freedom and autonomy. That's what employee experience kind of feels like to me.
Cool. And what about the link, Matt, between employee experience and customer experience?
Oh my gosh, this one's a good one, and I think a lot of people are hitting. I mean, I think it's fairly widely accepted now that if you've got a good employee experience, eventually the customer experience is going to be impacted. Whether it's because the employees are just happy, so they're providing better customer service, or some other link that ties it directly. But to me, anyway, I think longer term. I think bigger picture, and you see this in DEI initiatives too, diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, where it's more than just making people comfortable. It's about making better products that serve more people. And I think the same can be said for EX driving CX, in that if you've got happy employees, then eventually what you're delivering, the products, the services, are actually going to improve, and therefore your CX is going to improve. So yes, there is this direct correlation. Happy people beget happy people, but also happy people build better services and products.
Mm-hmm. But even there's a baseline, right? It's great to create the positivity. They will in turn create a better product, a better customer experience. But on the flip side, even just the baseline, like we were talking about before, stop breaking it, right? Stop inserting hurdles and causing them to actually deliver poor service. I can't tell you how many times I've been on the phone with my cell phone provider or my cable provider to get service, and they'll invariably say, hang on a minute, my PC just rebooted, I'm going to have to transfer you to somebody else. That experience, you're now creating, you're not creating positivity, you're creating negativity, and you're actually losing business. It's such a, over the years, IT has, I think, not had real good visibility into their impact on the business. They're here to serve an IT function. I need to deliver this piece of software, damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead. And, you know, if they break, well, they'll call. Surely they'll call if we break them. Half of them don't call. And that's the paradox with ticket volume is, if my current ticket volume only represents half of my problems, I have an incrementally bigger problem to solve. But the paradox is I can't tell them to all call because I can't handle the ticket volume I have. I can't double my expenses, so I almost hope that they don't call.
Yes.
It's such a paradox. And kind of to flip it as well, IT has a long history of not wanting to listen. Mm-hmm. Right? We are the technology pros. Employees don't know technology. We do. We're going to tell them which device to get, which software to get, what they can and can't do, what the governance rules are. But there's a key pillar in experience that we have to break IT down and get them to listen. Right? What do you think the key is to get a techie to effectively listen to their customer?
Yes, great question. And this is something that I try to do in all of my workshops, all of my consulting engagements, is to get people. It's the design life cycle.
Yeah.
When you're conducting that research, when you're selecting that laptop and you've got 10 models in a conference room, the agents need to be in there. The people involved, because it's not just customers, it's the stakeholders that need to be involved. And the same goes for app dev and infrastructure. You know, if you're building a Wi-Fi network, go and watch people use the Wi-Fi. You know, go and or you're selecting software. If you're in charge of application management, you should definitely be sitting next to employees doing their job on a regular basis. And it's not something that you can just delegate out to a specific team, because then people, they see the data and maybe they'll change. But when you see it happening, when you see someone literally copying and pasting Excel row after Excel row over and over and over, you immediately you're thinking, this is the dumbest way to do this. And there's 100 apps that can fix this for you. And suddenly your eyes open, and your portfolio is going to change. You're going to add that in. You're going to understand why you're adding that in. And you're going to be able to speak to your superiors and the other people involved and explain to them why this software is now being added to the stable.
Yep. Yeah, we had just a quick anecdote. We had 2 applications that were customer facing at our call center, and I did a field tour. I went to 40 field offices in 6 weeks. I was in a different city every day. I was sitting with employees, watching them do their job, watching them struggle through the hurdles of the day. And one employee I sat with on the call center was taking a customer account number from one application, copying and pasting it into Notepad, so they had a running record of it, and then would then take that consolidated set of information in Notepad, copy it, and paste it into the other application. And nobody knew that workflow was so incredibly broken, and the employee was onboarded that way. They just felt that's the way it is. So, to your point, sitting with the business, seeing how they function, they don't know technology, and they don't know that can be fixed. So much value in spending time with the business. Couldn't agree with you more.
We've got to give a trigger warning before some of these stories.
I'm with you. So let's switch to a little bit different topic. Let's talk about, and you kind of apologized early on for throwing some jargon in. So let's talk about buzzwords, right? What's your thought on a couple of catch-all buzzwords? We'll start with the one that's trending right now, AI. Everything drops into AI, whether it's analytics or analysis. What's your view on AI?
My view on AI, I am a hopeful, optimistic, positive thinker who definitely likes to try new things. And I think AI is a fantastic tool. I think the reason that it's such a hot topic right now isn't necessarily because it's new. I think that a lot of the combinatorial analysis and suggestion engines, the predictive analytic engines, have been around for a long time, and a lot of tools have been using them for a long time. It's just that now we've added like a language layer, so now they're really popular. And so I think big call centers, large IT shops have been using this for a long time to scale employees. And certainly with the addition of good language models, large language models, it's going to go even further, right? It's going to be easier for us to suggest things and provide responses. I mean, even at my own company at InvGate, we're adding it to our ticketing system. Of course we are, because there's so many situations where an agent may not have the skills or the background to write a great response on a ticket. So let's let them get suggestions. Let's make it easy for it to push against an API really quickly out to ChatGPT or OpenAI, and then quickly provide a response back that either sounds more professional or has more detail or maybe has less detail.
Yeah.
And so there's a huge opportunity there. And then also, you look at what I do is I'm a process nerd. So it's all about like, how do we reduce friction in the process? And one thing that I really like is the concept of KCS, knowledge-centered support or knowledge-centered service. And one of the things about knowledge-centered service is be able to draft the articles. Let's get those articles created. It fills a pipeline of knowledge content that you can then leverage later. And these large language models, if they're great at writing, which I think we've kind of confirmed they're pretty good at writing, what a great spot to start. And make it easy so that you can click on a ticket and generate a knowledge article. So those are just some of the things that we're trying as a company. But yeah, there's always buzzwords. There's always trends. DevOps was a big one for a while. Yep. And I think what's really key is that we don't, that they don't shift, right? So DevOps is a cultural movement around basically you build it, you support it, and you do it all together as a team. And it's meant to be a very calm process. And with AI, I think it's kind of the same way. Like, let's not make it what it isn't already. Let's not jump to conclusions, and hopefully, we can glean the value out of it as much as possible. And I also want to say this, that it is it's offensive to think that a human can be replaced by it, because what we're doing here, communicating. You see my hand gestures, you see the way that I'm looking at you, that I'm paying attention. Although it may be replicated someday by an AI or an engine or some simulacrum, I don't think that we're at the point where humans don't provide value. So let's not jump to that conclusion.
I think that's such an important point. There's a train of thought that the AI large language models are getting more creative, more responsive, more natural language-like, and I think that we can be fooled into thinking that creativity is replicating human creativity, right? I, on the spot, can listen to what you say, your creativity and the words that you form in our conversation, and respond to it in I hope, a different way, a more human way than a chatbot can. It'd be interesting to see what happens over the next 10 years, but I'm hoping that human creativity doesn't get replaced, but it's such an important part of everything we do. How about a different set of words, buzzwords, and we'll stay on that track. Predictive, you used predictive already. We've maybe covered that a little bit. But what do you feel the difference between predictive and proactive is?
Oh, that's great. When I think of predictive, I really do think of looking at trends, historical data. For instance, you might choose a hardware vendor based on past performance. Do I like all the Dells that we have? Should we switch vendors? Do I like all the HP desktops that we have? Should I trust them again? And you see that with network gear too. proactive really feels like planning. And if you subscribe to any of the IT frameworks, all of them kind of talk about that service design and service transition phases. And I really feel like that's where a lot of the proactive elements should be living. Now, there are elements of continual service improvement and problem management is going to, say, all right, well, proactively we can fix these incidents if we set up a redundant server or redundant networks or, design our services in a way that they're a bit more dependable. So that's where I think proactive really lives.
Yeah.
What do you think? Am I wrong? What is the DEX angle?
Yeah, so, when we, in my previous employer, set up the proactive services team, the positive side of it was great work. We don't need to wait for customers and employees to call the help desk anymore. We're going to be proactive. But really, the problem already existed. Our tools are just telling us that something broke. So you really haven't been proactive in solving the problem. You've just been proactive in not needing them to call you about it. So proactive for me and for our teams got to be the point where, to my earlier rant, was stop breaking it. Let's be proactive in development and in test and in deployment so that we're proactively, to your point, planning the rollout and we're planning into the design the stability that we need and the reliability that we need versus just throwing it out there and if it breaks, surely someone would call. Over the years, my brain kind of kicks in and says, think about it a different way. Let me pose this to you. Distributed computing doesn't exist, yet we design it and we build it, and tomorrow we're going to roll out 30,000 devices. Distributed computing is going to hit us in one day. And we've got this great design, we've got all the applications, we've got the standard operating system. And you know what we're going to do for support? We've got this great model. We're going to put 50 people on a help desk. We're going to give them phones and computers. And when the PCs break, we've got a great solution. All they have to do is call us and tell us.
Yeah.
And for problem management, we've got an even better solution because now that we're tracking all the problems at the help desk, we can now trend the problems and do problem management based on the phone calls. You'd get kicked out of the office. You would be thrown out on your ear because it's the dumbest model ever, but we've been working with it for 30 years. It's insanity.
Yeah, the razor blade model. If there's a lot of money to be made in fixing a problem, there's a lot of money to be made in not fixing it permanently.
Yep. I had an executive tell me I can't afford to do DEX because now I have to fix everything.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But it ends up being a major cost driver. I mean, your revenue goes up, your overall operational costs go down.
Yeah.
And I think another word, like if in the IT space anyway, a simile would be hardening. You're really making it such that it can't break, or if it does, that it's such a great experience that you're ready for it. Like, for example, and I love these examples. For the longest time, if a user had a problem with their laptop and it was the operating system, you'd pull the machine, you'd pull all the data off, you'd wipe it, you'd put the data back on and give it back to them. Well, the new model isn't that way. You and I both know that it's more common now for if an employee has a problem with their laptop, you're shipping them a new one right away. And it's going to have their profile loaded on it. It's probably going to have a lot of their apps preloaded. And if you're really cutting edge, you're making it such that if they report a specific problem, it's already being imaged in a locker next to their house, like as close as possible to their geo as possible. And they can go in, pull the new one, put the old one, and they got that new one. And if you really want to take that to the next level, you're upgrading their laptop at the same time. And that makes it such that not only are they excited that this problem is going to go away and that they're going to have a clean, high-performing computer, but you upgraded them as well, which is going to give them a better experience. Yeah. Well, hopefully it's a better experience. Hopefully they don't have to replace all their peripherals and a bunch of other things too.
But even flip that, from a pendulum perspective, and I've had executives talk me through that process, and down the road, the same executives come back and say, look at all these laptops we're shipping. look at all these devices. Every time something breaks, I have to ship an entire new laptop. Why can't I just fix this stuff? Or better yet, why can't I just stop breaking it? And then I don't have to replace the employee's laptop every time they have a problem. Because that new laptop that goes back out to them, if you haven't fixed the root cause of breakage, it's going to break again. And you're going to ship them another new laptop. The cycle, lots of different perspectives on the right way to handle stability, reliability, predictability. That's one of them is, why spend an hour fixing something when it's just as easy to ship them a new laptop? But if you're shipping them a new laptop every 30 days, something's got to shift.
Yeah.
That's what I love about this line of business is there's so many different things to think about and to try. So let's wrap up the buzzword conversation. The mother of all buzzword inventors. What are your thoughts about the future of ITIL? All of our modern IT buzzwords come from ITIL. Where do you think that goes from a design cycle perspective? Where, does ITIL still stay relative and can it accommodate all of the different thought processes?
Yes, I think the advances from ITIL 3 to ITIL 4 have really helped. It's really what the industry has needed. Whether you're discovering it through ITIL or some other framework, the idea of designing services with the stakeholders in mind is a huge benefit to the ecosystem. I think what's tough about it now is that it's now a private venture.
Yeah.
ITIL has been purchased several times by three companies, Capita, Axelos, and now PeopleCert. And the way that it came about was the UK government, really, their IT department really realized, hey, we need a standard operating model. We need ways to talk about this stuff so that we can all communicate well. And I feel like it's evolved. We have evolved as a society. Technology has evolved. So now it's not a new concept to explain to a new employee that you create a ticket when something is broken.
Right.
It's not a new concept that there's a difference between requesting something and reporting that it's broken. That's not new anymore. And so I think that since we've evolved, I feel like the relevance has gone down. And you see it in ITIL 4. And I was speaking at an event earlier this week, and someone came up to me and asked, where do I go to get processes? Where do I go to get like a standard incident process? And sure, you can Google it, and there's an awesome ITIL wiki out there, and there's a million frameworks. I could name 10 right now that you could focus on besides ITIL that are going to be more accessible. And I think that is one of the reasons that this privatization is going to ultimately hurt the relevance, because the companies that have bought it need to make money back, and the people that are interested in the framework and the ideas, maybe they do have a company that has bought into it, and they do have someone that they can get reimbursement for or from. But a lot of times it's people that want to learn and grow, and they're looking for something free, cheap, easy, that they can learn from, because that's how we learn now. Right. And so I feel like anything that's behind a paywall now is going to lose relevancy over time. And I wish them the best. And I don't know what's next. And I think that's really where people are very curious. What is the next popular framework that we're going to be leveraging because we've evolved?
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Amazing stuff, Matt. Final question for you then. What do you think are the key technologies and capabilities for really expanding the effectiveness of service management going forward that we haven't necessarily touched upon in the buzzword conversation?
Yes, I love this question so much, specifically because it isn't just about tech; it's about capabilities. And one of the I think the primary concepts that are key, foundational to improving employee experience and delivering great modern service management is infinite curiosity. Always be learning. Having that lifelong learning mindset is key. When a new technology comes out, look at it skeptically, optimistically, and everything in between. Touch it, get a hold of it. Right now, I've got Ubuntu running on my computer because I've just not used Linux in a long time, and I need to kind of remember what the end user computing experience is like on that thing. And it's really changed since the last time I used it. So that's sort of foundational. I also feel like there is a major shift in leadership where no longer can we manage by numbers. It is about leading the human experience. It's about leading the humans to be the best at who they are. So that capability can be expanded with concepts like cognitive coaching, learning empathy. No longer can we get leaders in managers in IT roles that are just brought there by merit of technical capabilities. You really need to raise up the leaders that understand people and can be selfless and empathetic with the people that are doing the actual work. So those are the huge parts of capabilities, the human capabilities. And then as far as technology goes, I really feel like it's letting the people that are doing the work selecting the products. I don't think that it's necessarily about what technologies you pick. It's about making sure that what you pick works for the people that are doing the actual work. And they'll be your best BS meters. They'll be the people that say, okay, this is too complex. This doesn't make sense. I'm not going to have the freedom and autonomy to deliver a great customer experience to our customers, the people that we serve. So selecting those tools is probably another super important capability.
Superb note to end on, Matt. A superb conversation altogether. Been an absolute pleasure having you on the show, mate. I wonder if you could just tell everyone where they can find Ticket Volume, where they can find you, where you'd like them to follow and look out for you.
Yes, and thanks for having me on the DEX show as well. Yeah. Ticket Volume can be found on any of your podcast platforms. We see most people on Apple Podcasts. That's our highest listener number. Spotify is also very popular, but you can find us on YouTube. We switched to video a little while ago, basically because you can see how animated I am. And so if you want to catch us on video, check us out on YouTube.
Excellent. Pleasure having you on, Matt.
Pleasure as well. Thank you much.
To make sure that you never miss an episode, subscribe to the show in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast player. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, make sure to leave a rating of the show. Just tap the number of stars you think the podcast deserves. If you'd like to learn more about how NextThink can help you improve your digital employee experience, head over to nextthink.com. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.